Hi everyone, in this video we're going to talk about how to write an annotated bibliography. This is a great step to take before any research paper, so we'll go a little bit more in depth. We'll be talking about what annotated bibliographies are, why we use them, and then how to write them. So first of all, what are they? You might be familiar with what an annotated bibliography is already. This might be just random words that I'm throwing at you. An annotated bibliography, to start, is made up of multiple entries, and you have one entry for each of your research sources. So in your case, there will be 8 total entries when we're done. These entries are arranged in alphabetical order by the first letter of the MLA citation. And there are a few parts to each entry. Part 1 is going to be the MLA citation for your research source. And then part 2 is a write-up about that research source. In that write-up, you're summarizing the source, you're assessing the source, and you are reflecting on the source. So an annotated bibliography is a collection of 8 of these pieces combined. You've probably heard bibliography before. That's like a works cited or a reference page at the end where you just have all the citations. This one is annotated because along with those citations, you are providing more information for what that resource is about, how useful it is, and how trustworthy it is. These typically are about 150 to 200 words per entry, so not too lengthy, mostly just enough to jog your memory while you're writing your paper later on, or to help somebody else see whether or not that source will be useful for their research. Why do we use them? They can benefit you by organizing your notes on your reading prior to sitting down and writing. It helps you realize which sources will kind of make the cut into your final paper, which ones you'll use where. Can also help other researchers. So if somebody comes across your annotated bibliography and they were hoping to do research on a similar topic, this can alert them to helpful resources and maybe warn them away from ones that aren't as useful. So the big question, how do we write them? Like I said, each entry will contain these 4 components. So we've got the MLA citation. I recommend just using an online resource for that. Citation Machine is a great one. And then from there, it will be a little bit less rigid. With the MLA citation, there's one correct way to do it. And then beneath that, you have your entry. This is the 150 to 200 word part. It's 150 to 200 words for all of these pieces. So for example, you'll summarize, talk about what were the main points or key ideas in the source. This part is fully in your own words. You're not pulling in quotes. Set those aside, keep those bookmarked or ready to go for your paper. Here you are just in your own words summarizing the source. It's got to be short and sweet. There's not the time to elaborate on every single point. This also forces you to make sure that you're clear on what the main idea is. Then you'll move on in your entry to assessment. Can you trust the information in the source? How do you know it's reliable? Are there factors that are getting in the way of an objective view? Subjective doesn't always mean that it's bad. You just need to be aware of that. So going into writing your paper, is this a very neutral take on a topic, or is it a very personally influenced take on a topic? And then last is the reflection. So how is this source helpful to you? Are you going to use it? If so, where? Has it changed your perspective on anything? It's okay if it hasn't changed your perspective, if it really hasn't been this, big shocker of new information. That's completely fine. That's something for you to note here so that when you go back to write your paper, you know which sources to prioritize. And that's pretty much all that there is to annotated bibliographies. Make sure that you look at the other resources I have for you on Canvas. They'll be really helpful. It includes a full example as well if you're looking for that.